Ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea how powerful you are when you stop wishing and start embodying everything you desire. The love, the success, the freedom, the peace is waiting for you. Not in some far-off future, not behind a door someone else holds the key to. It's already yours, but only if you dare to act like it. You see, we've been taught to wait for proof, for validation, for results. But the truth is, the result only appears when your mind decides it already is. Most people miss this. They chase life like it's always ahead of them. But the secret? Life responds to who you believe you are, not who you wish to be. Why must you watch this speech? Because if you grasp what's being shared here, you'll stop begging for your future and start living it. You'll stop being a spectator and become the author. Not tomorrow, now. Because when you act as if it's already yours, you stop vibrating lack. You stop asking, when will it happen? And start moving as though it already did. And in that shift, reality bends. You think you need confidence? Confidence is not a thing you earn. It's a thing you decide. The moment you wear it, you have it. The moment you embody it, people feel it. Money, success, peace. If you walk like it's yours, talk like it's yours, breathe like it's yours, your energy tells the world, I no longer need it, I already own it. And the world responds accordingly. This isn't delusion, it's creation. Because the most powerful creators don't wait for signs, they are the sign, don't you see? The gap between you and what you desire is not time, it's identity. You're still acting like the person who doesn't have it. You're still carrying the story of lack. Drop it. Drop it now and choose a new posture, one that says, I am already enough. When you act poor, you remain poor. Not in money, but in spirit. When you act unloved, you emit the energy of rejection. But when you act as if, you align, you merge, you collapse the distance, you become a magnet. People will ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile, because you didn't do it the way they think. You didn't climb a mountain. You became the summit. The universe mirrors your frequency, not your wishes. If you walk around asking for things, you tell life you don't have them. If you walk around already being the one who has it, life gives it to you as a matter of course. Act like the healed version of you, speak like the loved version of you, work like the successful version of you, rest like the peaceful version of you. This is not pretense. This is presence. This is alignment. This is truth. The only thing between you and your dream is your hesitation to step into it. So don't just dream the life. Walk into the life. Let every step you take tell the world, it's already mine. The power of assumption is not just a mindset shift, it is a creative force. When you assume something is already yours, your mind, body, and energy begin to align with that reality. You're no longer striving, hoping, or waiting. You begin being. And being is the birthplace of becoming. Most people live in a state of longing. They place their desires on a pedestal, imagining them far away in some future moment. But the longer you see what you want as separate from you, the longer it stays that way. Assumption short-circuits that separation. It pulls the desired state out of the future and anchors it into the now. Imagine this. You walk into a room already believing you're respected, loved, and worthy. Your posture changes. Your voice steadies. Your choices become confident. You don't second-guess yourself. You don't beg for approval. Why? Because the assumption has already filled the space where insecurity once lived. You're not trying to convince the world, you're simply reflecting what you've already accepted internally. That's the secret most people never understand. The world doesn't give you what you beg for, it gives you what you embody, the way you show up, the way you speak, the way you move. All of it broadcasts who you believe yourself to be. And when that belief becomes unshakable, life begins to reflect it back to you in the form of circumstances, opportunities, and results. This doesn't mean pretending. It doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means choosing a new truth, a higher truth, and allowing it to guide your actions before the evidence appears. That's the leap most never take. They wait for the result before they change their mindset. But it doesn't work like that. The inner world always precedes the outer world. You become a magnet the moment your assumption is clear and consistent. If you assume you're valuable, you treat yourself as such. You set boundaries. You say no without guilt. You walk away from what diminishes you, not with anger, but with certainty, because you know what you're worth. And slowly, the world adjusts to that new standard. People might say, but that's not real. You can't just act like you have something you don't. But they're missing the point. The world you live in is shaped by your perception. If you assume lack, even abundance will feel hollow. If you assume power, even in moments of weakness, you'll find your footing again. The mind doesn't wait for confirmation. It creates it. That's the power of assumption. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So if you want success, assume the role of someone who already has it. Start making decisions from that place. Speak from that energy. Dress, walk, and think from that vibration. Assumption is not arrogance, it's alignment. When a tree grows toward the sky, it doesn't question whether it deserves sunlight. It just grows. When a river flows, it doesn't ask if it's worthy to reach the ocean. It just moves. You too must move in the direction of your truth. Not because someone else confirms it, but because you've decided it. Most people live in a reactive state. They wait for life to hand them a sign. But assumption flips that. You become the sign. You become the message. And because you carry it with such certainty, the world has no choice but to meet you there. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Stop putting your future self on hold. Act as if it's already yours. Not someday. Today. Right now. When you assume the dream is already real, you walk differently, you breathe deeper, you take risks that make sense to someone who knows the outcome is inevitable. That's not delusion. That's faith in motion. And that kind of faith creates momentum. Nothing can stop. This is the essence of creation. Not to wait and then act, but to act and then watch life unfold in response. Assume the best about yourself. Assume the highest about your path. Assume the doors are already open, because once you do, the universe stops testing your patience and starts responding to your power. Embodiment is the silent language of certainty. It speaks before words do. It moves before logic does. To embody something is to take it from thought into form, from potential into presence. And this is where transformation truly happens, not when you expect change, but when you become it. Most people are trapped in a loop of expectations. They constantly wait to feel ready, wait for someone to notice them, wait for a sign that their moment has arrived. But life does not reward those who wait. It responds to those who are. The shift happens when you stop expecting things to be different and start moving as if they already are. Think of it this way. The person who expects success still doubts it, but the person who embodies success already lives in it. That doesn't mean they have every result yet. It means their identity, their energy, their posture, and their decisions reflect success now. They wake up with purpose, they speak with clarity, they invest in themselves, and they walk through life as if the destination is a given. That kind of presence doesn't just influence the self, it influences reality. There's a quiet strength in embodiment. You don't need to prove anything. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't chase opportunities. They begin to recognize you. Because what you embody becomes magnetic. People can feel it. They may not be able to explain it, but they'll trust it. They'll be drawn to it. And that's how doors begin to open. You become the version of yourself you've been longing for, not by talking about it, not by setting distant goals, but by choosing to live as that version now. Not perfectly, not all at once, but with full commitment. This is not about faking it. Faking suggests you're pretending to be something you're not. Embodying means you're aligning with the truth that already exists inside you, one you've simply been too afraid to express. Every day you delay embodiment, you reinforce the illusion that you're not ready. You teach your nervous system that you're still preparing, still rehearsing. But the moment you embody who you truly are, even if it's just for a moment, something shifts. The mind catches up, the heart steadies, and the world begins to reflect the internal upgrade. When you embody something, your habits shift naturally. You don't force discipline. You don't drag yourself into motivation. You simply act in accordance with the version of you that already lives in the outcome. The person who has inner peace doesn't need to seek it. They move in alignment with it. The person who feels worthy of love doesn't cling. They radiate. Embodiment is a declaration to life. I'm done waiting. It's not loud or dramatic. It's subtle and sovereign. It's walking into a room and knowing you belong. It's showing up to your craft like you're already world class. It's making decisions not from fear of what might go wrong, but from the faith of what's already true. Ask yourself, what do you want to embody? Confidence, peace, strength, success? Then let your actions reflect that. Let your voice echo it. Let your boundaries defend it. Let your silence hold it. This is the path. Not expectation, not hoping something outside you changes, but embodiment. Because the moment you become it, you no longer search for it. The seeking ends. The striving stops. You move from becoming to being, and in that state, life begins to respond differently. Opportunities that once ignored you start to notice. People who never respected you begin to listen. Challenges that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable, because you are no longer trying to become. You are, and the world bends to those who are, not because they are more deserving, but because they stopped asking for permission. You do not need to wait to be more qualified. You do not need to wait to be more accepted. You do not need to wait for anything or anyone. The time to embody the life you want is now. Every moment you hesitate is a moment you postpone your power. Walk into the identity you've been circling for years. Speak as it. Breathe as it. Live as it. Because when you embody the future has no choice but to show up in your present. The illusion of lack is one of the most convincing tricks the mind plays on us. It convinces you that something is missing, something vital, something necessary, and until you have it, you can't be whole, happy, or complete. But the deeper truth is this: what you think is lacking is often just hidden beneath layers of belief, fear, and resistance. You are not incomplete. You are conditioned to feel incomplete. From a young age, you are taught to measure your worth by things outside of yourself: achievements, possessions, relationships, and validation. And in that measurement, you begin to feel as though something is always out of reach. You chase success, thinking it will make you enough. You seek love, believing it will fill a void. You strive for peace, thinking it is somewhere else. Always just beyond today. That lack is not a reality. It's a perspective. And perspective can be shifted in a single moment of awareness. The feeling of lack arises when the mind compares what is to what should be. It invents a gap between you and your desire, and then it builds an identity around that gap. I am not there yet. I do not have enough. I am still waiting. And as long as you believe in that gap, you live in it. You breathe from it. You suffer because of it. Yet the truth is far simpler. You are not lacking. You are layered. Everything you seek exists in you already. Not in its final form, perhaps, but in its seed. The love you crave, already inside you, waiting to be nurtured. The purpose you chase, already encoded within your curiosities, your gifts, your pain. The peace you long for, it's not behind some distant goal. The illusion of lack thrives in the absence of presence. It convinces you that fulfillment is in the next thing, the next win, the next approval. So you keep running, not realizing the race never ends, because the starting line was never real. The way out of lack is not to gather more. It is to remember more, to return to what is already here. When you stop feeding the illusion that something is missing, you begin to experience what is actually present. And what's present is more than enough. You don't need to earn your completeness. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to become anything to be deserving of what you desire. You simply need to see the lie of lack for what it is: a trick of the mind, a distortion of vision, a shadow cast by fear. Everything changes the moment you stop believing you're empty. Because then you stop chasing from desperation. You stop settling for less. You stop attaching your peace to outcomes. And this shift, this breaking of the illusion, is not passive. It's a decision. It's a conscious refusal to see yourself through the lens of not enough. It's the courageous act of declaring, what I have within me is enough to begin, enough to grow, enough to arrive. Even your desires shift when lack dissolves. You no longer desire things to fill a hole. You desire them as expressions of your fullness. You pursue your goals, not because they'll complete you, but because they reflect you. You give love, not to feel needed, but because love overflows from you. You choose relationships, careers, and dreams that resonate with your truths, not ones that distract you from your fear. This is the liberation no one talks about, that you are already whole, that you were never lacking, that the real battle is not to get more, but to see clearly, to stop mistaking delay for denial, to stop confusing discomfort with deficiency. When you see through the illusion of lack, you stop trying to fix yourself and start freeing yourself. You stop living in reaction to what you think is missing and start acting from what you already are. And that shift, that's when everything opens. That's when you stop vibrating neediness and start radiating abundance. And abundance doesn't come from how much you have. It comes from how deeply you know you're not missing anything. You were never meant to be desperate. You were never meant to doubt your place. You were meant to awaken to what's already inside you. Because the most powerful truth is this: there is no lack, only the forgetting of who you really are. Time is a trickster. It convinces you that everything you want, everything you hope to become, everything you dream of achieving is somewhere far away, that you have to wait, that you have to earn it, that you're not ready yet. But time is not as rigid as it appears. It is not a straight road you walk toward your goals. Time is elastic. It stretches and bends according to the energy you carry in the present moment. The more you believe your dream is distant, the farther it drifts. The more you act as if it's already here, the faster it rushes in. Most people live in a constant state of postponement. They say, someday I'll be successful. Someday I'll be happy. Someday I'll feel confident. Someday I'll start. But that someday is a mirage. It never arrives. The trick is that the mind always imagines the future as separate from the now. And as long as you hold your desires in the future, you disconnect from the only moment that holds the power to create them, the present. It is not time that separates you from your dream. It is identity. You're waiting for life to change so that you can feel ready. But life is waiting for you to feel ready so that it can change. The shift happens not when the calendar flips, not when a year passes, not when circumstances align, but when you decide in the present moment to act like the version of you that already lives in the outcome. Time is not your enemy nor your master. It is your mirror. It reflects how you treat this moment. If you live this moment in lack, time will stretch your lack. If you move through this moment with belief, time collapses around your conviction. You become a magnet for opportunities, clarity, and change. Not because you forced the clock to move faster, but because you stopped making the present a waiting room. You don't need more time to be great, you need more presence. Because when you fully inhabit the now, you awaken a power that makes time irrelevant. You stop dragging the past behind you. You stop bargaining with the future. You stop delaying your joy, your power, your transformation. Everything you think is coming in the future already exists in seed form in the present. Your job is not to chase it, it's to nurture it. The person you want to become is not out of reach. They are within you, asking to be expressed now, not later. Every step you take as that version of yourself collapses the illusion of waiting. Even healing, which we think requires time, often requires presence more than anything else. The pain lingers, not because time hasn't passed, but because attention hasn't been brought to it. The future won't heal what the present refuses to face. Time, in that sense, can only offer distance, not transformation. When you stop treating time as a delay and start treating the moment as a doorway, you realize that the transformation you seek isn't linear, it's energetic. It's about the frequency you live in now, the feeling you practice now, with the decisions you make now. Not after you feel more prepared, more supported, more validated, but now, exactly as you are. This is the ultimate illusion time plays, that you are separate from your power, that you must wait your turn, that your destiny is locked behind months or years. But the truth is, life can change in an instant. A moment of clarity can collapse decades of confusion. A single decision can open doors that were once invisible. A shift in energy can pull you into a version of yourself that you once thought would take a lifetime to reach. And that moment, that shift, doesn't live in the future. It lives here, in your breath, in your posture, in your choice to step forward before everything makes sense. Time bows to the one who lives fully now. Don't let time trick you into playing small. Don't let it convince you to pause your power, to put your dreams on hold, to wait for certainty before moving. You are not too early. You are not too late. You are right on time. And this moment, this one right here, is everything you need. Because time is not what moves you forward. You are what moves time. Belief is not just a thought you repeat. It is the foundation of your reality. Everything you experience, every action you take, every risk you avoid or embrace, stems from what you believe about yourself and the world. If you believe you're not good enough, the world will mirror that back to you. In missed chances, silent rooms, doors that never seem to open. But if you believe you are worthy, already capable, already aligned with what you seek, then life begins to shift. Not because the world changes, but because you do. You see, belief is not passive. It's not just something you hold in your mind. True belief is embodied. It becomes part of your energy. It shows up in your choices, your language, your boundaries, your silence. And the most powerful belief you can carry is this: it's already mine. Not as a fantasy, not as a game of pretend, but as a declaration of alignment. When you believe it's already yours, you stop asking for permission. You stop needing validation. You stop waiting for someone else to name your worth or approve your dream. You walk into rooms differently. You don't need to explain yourself. You let your presence speak. You let your silence carry weight. And people respond not because you're loud or flashy, but because you're anchored, grounded. Belief reshapes your identity, and your identity governs everything. People try to change their habits, their circumstances, even their relationships, without ever changing the beliefs that built them. That's why the change doesn't last. But when you shift what you believe at the core, your entire world begins to rearrange itself around that new inner reality. The reason most people struggle to manifest their vision isn't because they're not capable. It's because they don't believe it's possible for them. They may want it, they may talk about it, they may even work hard for it, but if deep down they feel undeserving, unseen, or not ready, their actions will always be rooted in fear or hesitation. And fear never builds a stable foundation, but belief, true belief, builds momentum. It allows you to move boldly before the evidence appears. It allows you to take the leap, to show up fully, to risk failure, because you already know in your bones that this is who you are. You're not trying to become something. You're letting it rise from within you. Even in moments of doubt, belief holds you. It reminds you that storms are temporary, that setbacks are not signs of defeat, but invitations to deepen your alignment. When you believe it's already yours, you stop panicking when things go wrong. You stop needing to control every detail. You trust the unfolding. You trust yourself. And what you believe is what you broadcast, not with your words, but with your being. You attract not what you desire, but what you assume to be true. If you assume lack, you will create more of it. If you assume power, abundance, and purpose, you will begin to see the signs of those truths reflected in your outer world. It is not magic, it is resonance. You cannot fake belief. You must feel it, live it, breathe it, even when the world hasn't caught up yet. Especially then. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed, you don't see the tree right away, but you water it, you protect it. You act as if the tree is already there, because you believe in its unseen growth. Your life is no different. Your dreams are no different. You must carry the same quiet conviction. You must show up every day, not just hoping it will happen, but knowing it already exists, and that your only task is to align your actions with that invisible truth. And the more you act from that place, the more your outer world shifts. People take notice. Opportunities unfold. Energy returns to you, not because you chased them, but because you met them with the frequency of belief. Ask yourself, what would change if you believed it was already yours? How would you speak? What would you stop tolerating? What would you finally do? And who would you finally become? Because in the end, belief is not just the start of transformation, it is the engine of it. And once you turn it on, the world begins to move with you, not against you. It's already yours. Believe it, and then become it. Reality is not something you observe from a distance. It's something you participate in. And the way you show up to it shapes what it gives back to you. The world is not as solid or as fixed as it seems. It is fluid, responsive, alive. It bends and molds itself according to your inner state. Your thoughts, emotions, and expectations are not separate from the world. They are instructions to it. You don't just experience life, you help generate it. When you act as if it's already yours, you're not playing pretend. You're activating a principle of alignment that the universe understands more clearly than your words. It's not about begging, pleading, or hoping. It's about claiming, quietly, boldly, without needing to prove anything. That energy is unmistakable. It's the energy of someone who has stepped into congruence, whose internal world and external actions speak the same truth. The universe doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to coherence, to clarity, to the person who moves without contradiction. When your words say you want it, but your body language says you doubt it, when your goals speak of expansion, but your habits are rooted in fear, the message you send out is fragmented. But when your entire being, your thoughts, your posture, your choices, your energy, speaks in one unified voice, then reality listens. It opens up. Reality, in its purest form, is a mirror. It does not decide for you, it reflects you. The version of you that shows up most consistently. If you walk through life as if you are still waiting for permission, still uncertain, still wondering if you're good enough, reality mirrors those doubts back to you through delay, confusion, and closed doors. But if you walk as if the space is already yours, as if the outcome is already written, then the mirror reflects confidence, synchronicity, and acceleration. This is not arrogance. This is not delusion. This is sacred alignment. This is you remembering that you are a co-creator of experience, not just a passive observer of it. Most people never claim their life. They wait for someone else to confirm them. They wait for evidence to feel empowered. But real power is not found in what's already visible. It's found in your ability to move before the world has caught up. You are not here to convince the world. You are here to declare through action, through presence, through your unwavering vibration, that you already belong. That what you seek is not a dream you chase. It's a destiny you're syncing with. Every step you take in alignment with your desired reality sends out a signal. And the world begins to organize itself around that signal. People are drawn in, resources appear, timing sharpens, not because luck smiled on you, but because you finally stopped arguing with your future. Energy doesn't lie. When you become the version of yourself that already lives in the reality you desire, that energy becomes undeniable. It affects the way you speak, the way you walk into rooms, the way you say yes and no. People feel it before you even introduce yourself. This is why forcing and chasing never work long term, because they are rooted in the belief that you're still separate from what you want. But when you embody the reality, when you live from the outcome, instead of merely hoping for it, reality aligns, not instantly, not always in the way you expect, but with uncanny precision. Let go of the idea that something has to happen first before you can feel certain. Certainty isn't earned through results. It's a choice. It's what causes results. You don't get the opportunity and then become confident. You become confident and the opportunity arrives because it recognizes your readiness. This is the hidden dance between you and life. Life is not ignoring you. It's waiting for you to stop hesitating, to stop playing small, to stop looking at your dreams from the outside. Step in. Assume the posture of already having it. Move as if the door is open, and watch how quickly it swings wide. You are not a passive character in the story of your life. You are the author, the energy, the vibration that pulls the plot forward. What you claim from within, the world must echo. So choose your stance wisely. Show up boldly and live as if it's already yours, because in the eyes of reality, it is. The way you carry yourself in this moment is not just a reflection of how you feel. It's a preview of what you believe you deserve. Your posture, your tone, your decisions, your presence, they all speak loudly, even when you say nothing. And the truth is, life doesn't respond to your words nearly as much as it responds to your energy. So if you walk like it's already yours, speak like you've already earned it, move like you belong in every room you enter, then the world begins to echo that back to you. This isn't about arrogance, it's about alignment. It's not pretending you're better than others, it's choosing to stop pretending you're less. You've been taught to downplay yourself, to shrink your dreams so others feel comfortable, to delay your confidence until someone else gives you the green light. But here's the truth. No one's coming to crown you. No one's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, now you're allowed to believe in yourself. That moment doesn't come. You must claim it on your own. Confidence isn't born out of success. Success is born out of confidence. The way you carry yourself when nothing is certain, that is the birthplace of every future you desire. Because what you embody now creates momentum. It tells the universe, I am ready. Not with empty promises, but with presence, with energy, with action. The problem is, many people wait. They wait for results before they feel worthy. They wait for applause before they feel seen. They wait for a title before they give themselves permission to speak with authority. And in doing so, they give their power away to circumstances, to people, to timing. They live in response mode, waiting, hoping, hesitating. But the world doesn't move for the hesitant. It moves for the aligned. And alignment begins when you show up as if you are already who you're becoming. Think about it. How would you dress if you believed you already had the success you dream of? How would you speak if you knew your voice carried weight? How would you walk into a room if you didn't feel the need to prove anything? You can start that now. You don't need a bigger bank account, a bigger audience, or a more perfect version of yourself. You just need to step into the energy of enoughness. When you act like it's already yours, your decisions become clearer. You no longer cling to situations that don't serve you. You stop settling for crumbs because you know you're meant for the feast. You stop asking for validation because you've already given it to yourself. This is the power of presence. It transforms the way the world sees you because you've transformed the way you see yourself. And people notice. They may not know what changed, but they feel it. They feel the stillness in your confidence, the assurance in your silence, the lack of neediness in your energy, and that draws the right things in, not by force, but by resonance. You don't have to push, You don't have to beg. You simply have to walk in the energy of I already am. Because the most magnetic energy in the world is a person who doesn't need the outcome to validate their identity. When you no longer need proof to believe, the proof finds you. That is how real change begins. Not by waiting, but by becoming. Becoming the version of you that lives beyond doubt. The version that doesn't apologize for wanting more. The version that is done shrinking to make others comfortable. When you carry yourself like it's already yours, it's not about faking anything. It's about revealing what's been inside you all along. The shift happens not when something new enters your life, but when you enter your life fully, authentically, unapologetically, and you stop asking, am I allowed to be this powerful? And start saying, this is who I am. Carry yourself accordingly, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you're honoring the truth of your becoming. Speak like it's done, move like it's unfolding, choose like it's sacred, because everything changes the moment you do. The mind is a powerful tool, but it is also a restless one. It constantly pulls you into rehearsals of the future or replays of the past. It rarely allows you to stand still in the present. And yet, that is where all power lives. The present moment is not empty. It is alive, charged with potential, brimming with possibility. But most people miss it. They live in their heads, distracted by what was or what might be, never realizing that the very life they long for can only be born from this moment. When you act as if it's already yours, what you are really doing is reclaiming your presence. You are no longer future chasing or past avoiding. You are being. And in that state of being, everything changes. Not because the world suddenly becomes different, but because your awareness becomes aligned. Presence is misunderstood. People think it's passive, something quiet, maybe even weak. But real presence is sharp. It's clean. It holds power without needing to show off. It's the energy of someone who knows who they are, who's not scrambling to prove anything, who isn't distracted by 1,000 invisible pressures. It's a calm that speaks louder than noise. It's clarity that cuts through confusion. It is the ground beneath your feet when everything around you feels uncertain. When you anchor yourself in the present moment and act from the belief that it's already yours, you tap into a deeper intelligence, one that doesn't rely on control or planning or constant doing. This intelligence moves through you. It speaks in subtle nudges, intuitive choices, and bold action that feels effortless. Because in presence, there is no resistance. There is only alignment. People often confuse striving with progress. They think if they're not stressing or hustling or constantly pushing, they're not doing enough. But the most powerful shifts don't come from force. They come from alignment with the now. When your inner world is quiet and sure, your outer world begins to fall into place. Not because you chased it, but because you stopped running from where you are. Presence teaches you something the future never can. That you are not missing anything. You are not incomplete. You don't need to wait for some milestone or achievement to feel whole. Wholeness is a state of consciousness, not a result. And the more you connect to the present, the more you realize that peace, power, and purpose aren't found in some distant outcome. They're found in how you show up now. That's why acting as if it's already yours is not delusion, it's devotion. It's a commitment to live in the truth of what you believe, not in the doubt of what hasn't yet appeared. It's saying, I choose to bring the future into the present, not by force, but by frequency, by presence. And what does that presence look like? It's the decision to slow down and breathe when your mind wants to panic. It's speaking with authority, even when your voice shakes. It's walking into the room and not dimming your light. It's choosing to believe in your path, not because you see the full map, but because you trust your steps. Presence is the birthplace of all creation. It is the canvas where vision becomes reality. Not someday, but now. The people who truly change their lives are not the ones who plan the most. They're the ones who listen the most, who show up to the present with enough clarity to feel what wants to emerge and enough courage to move with it. The more present you are, the more you begin to notice the signs, the synchronicities, the small shifts that others miss because they're too busy scanning the horizon. You start to see that life has always been speaking to you, but you were too distracted to hear it. Return. Come back to this breath, this step, this moment. Bring your energy fully here, not because the world demands it, but because this is where your power lives. And from this space of presence, carry the energy of its already mind, not with arrogance, but with grounded truth. You don't need to rush. You don't need to chase. You simply need to remember that the seed of everything you want is already planted within this moment. Your only job is to tend to it, to water it with action, to nourish it with belief, and to let your presence be the sunlight that brings it to life. Let go of the need to see every step. Let go of the need for guarantees. Let go of the idea that certainty must come before movement. That's not how life works. That's not how transformation works. The truth is, everything you seek begins when you choose to trust the unseen. When you act not because everything is clear, but because something deep within you knows. That inner knowing is more powerful than any external evidence. When you trust it, when you truly lean into it, you unlock a current far greater than logic or planning can ever offer. Faith in the unseen is not blind, it is not naive, it is not the absence of doubt, but the refusal to be led by it. It's a courageous choice to move forward when your vision is still blurred, when the outcome hasn't taken shape, when your mind wants to pause, but your spirit urges you to go. And that kind of trust creates momentum. It builds inner gravity. It draws the future closer. You weren't meant to figure everything out before you begin. You were meant to begin and then figure things out as they unfold. Life is not a blueprint. It's a dance. It moves with you. It responds to your energy, your action, your trust. When you hesitate, life hesitates. When you doubt, life stalls. But when you move boldly, even with shaky hands, life opens doors you couldn't see from the place you started. This is what act as if it's already yours really means. It's not about pretending or performing. It's about trusting that what you desire is not something far away. It's something already connected to you, already responding to you, already making its way toward you, just as you are making your way toward it. Your job is not to control the timeline, but to walk in harmony with it. to become the person who already lives in that reality, even before it fully arrives. It's easy to trust when things are clear, when results are visible, when the path is marked. But the real power lies in trusting when it's dark, when nothing is confirmed, when the only thing you're holding is a feeling. That's when your belief is tested. That's when your faith is formed. And that's when the world quietly starts to shift in your favor. Because you've shown you're ready. Think about it. The people who shape their lives don't always have more talent or better luck. They have deeper trust. They keep showing up even when nothing is certain. They act with purpose even when the payoff hasn't arrived. They becomes magnetic. To live in alignment with what's unseen means you are no longer controlled by what's missing. You are no longer ruled by the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Instead, you become a bridge between now and next. You begin to act like the future is already real. You speak like the version of you who's already made it. You move like someone who trusts the process, even when the details are blurry. And yes, fear will show up. It always does. The mind craves certainty. It wants to protect you. But you are not here to live a life that is only safe. You are here to live a life that is true. And truth often requires risk. Not the reckless kind, but the sacred kind. The kind of risk that says, I choose to believe even when I don't have all the answers. Every great change begins with one decision: to trust what you cannot yet see. To take the first step when a staircase hasn't appeared. To say yes when logic says wait. That's the beginning of real transformation. That's how you bring the unseen. Breathe. Walk with the posture of someone who already holds what they once only imagined. Speak with the clarity of someone who trusts their voice. Choose with the boldness of someone who knows they are guided. Because when you trust what's unseen, you're not walking in darkness. You're walking in light others haven't noticed yet. And soon, that light becomes your reality. Not because you forced it, but because you believed before it arrived. And that belief changed everything. We've always had the power, not in the distant future, not in some improved version of yourself, but right here, right now. Life bends to meet the energy you bring. It reflects your certainty, your presence, your trust. When you act as if it's already yours, you're not playing a role. You're remembering who you really are. You're stepping out of hesitation and into alignment. You're no longer waiting for permission, proof, or the perfect moment. You become the moment. And that's when everything shifts. Because it's not about faking confidence. It's about choosing it. It's not about chasing the future. It's about embodying it now. Every thought, every movement, every choice is either reinforcing your fears or amplifying your belief. And when your belief becomes stronger than your doubt, your reality begins to change. Naturally, powerfully, and without force. Move like it's already yours. Speak like you already have it. Show up like you've already arrived. And watch as the world quietly rearranges itself to meet you there.